Hey everyone, this is Donna again with my high-tech specialty software. Anyway, this is the third in the Advanced Beginner series. You're not Advanced Beginner yet until you master all the things in here. This is informational. You don't have to know this, but it's kind of handy to know it. Just the basics about reading musical scores, just the basics. Okay, this only introduces you to it. I'm not proficient at reading music. I can get around, you know, I can do okay with it, but I by no means can just look at a musical score and just go, oh, it's played like this. No, I can't do that. I happen to sing in a choir. I'm alto, and so I can read the basic notes for, you know, in the alto range. That's helpful to me, okay? But let me start up here. I told you I'd teach you about sharps and flats. That's kind of important to know. All right, so the marking for a sharp looks like a number sign. It's right here. And all we mean by a sharp is like you take a note and you raise it up by 1 fret or 1/2 step. That's all we mean, okay? So we don't usually say C sharp. We say B flat, okay? So forget about that. Forget that. Okay, so I'll just forget what I just said. This is the marking for sharp, okay? And what we mean is raise your note up by 1/2 step or 1 fret. All right, flat, just the opposite. The marking for it looks like a little B. And that means we're going to take that note and drop it down 1/2 step or 1 fret, okay? That's all it means. All right, so really basic stuff. This is called, I believe, a staff, if I'm not mistaken. This is the treble clef in a musical score. It's usually, if you're looking at a piece of music, you're going to see two, like it's going to be at the top staff will look like this, and the bottom one will have a whole different marking. So this is the treble clef. This is for sopranos and altos to sing their part here. The bass, the bass clef, whole different marking. I'm not going to go into that now. That's where your tenors and your basses would be singing those notes, okay? But let's just talk about the basics. This thing here, you'll see on every single musical score, is called a G clef. I'll explain why in a minute, okay? But this is the treble clef, so it's where alto and soprano notes are found. All right, what do these notes, you've all seen musical notes, they can look like a circle, they can have a stem on them, they can have a stem with a flag or 2 flags. All right, so let's just talk about what do these lines mean. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces available that a note can fall between. All right, you can also have notes below and notes above. That's a whole nother thing. Don't worry about it, but this is the basics. You'll notice the acronym or the word FACE, F-A-C-E. So if you want to know where F falls on the treble clef, it falls between the first 2 lines, all right? A falls between the next one up, all right? So let's just talk about the spaces. F falls in the first space, not on the line, but between, squarely in it, okay? Like railroad tracks, it's in between the railroad tracks, all right? So that's where F is. A is the second space up, C is the third space up, and E is the 4th space up. They're not on the lines, they're between the lines, okay? All right. And then we have the rest of your notes, all right? And you can make up your own acronym. Okay, I'm going to use the word baby, not boy, because, yeah, let's just keep it gender neutral, okay? E, G, B, D, F. All right, so you'll notice that these notes fall on the lines. So if you're on the railroad tracks, You don't want your feet to be there, okay? But let's just make up this acronym. Every good baby does fine, okay? So the E, the low E, starts on the very first line. G falls on the second line. That's why we call it G clef, because it curls around the G line, okay? That's where it looks like a dollar sign, but it curls around the G, if you can see that. It curls around that G line. B is on the third line. D is on the fourth line, and F is on the fifth line. All right? So again, treble clef, all right? Your FACE notes are between lines, and E, G, B, D, F, every good baby does fine, is exactly on the lines. So I'm just going to give you a quick example, all right? I'm sorry, this is boring. I know it is. That's why I'm not great at reading music, but I have the basics, and they do help me. All right, so let's just go back to sharps and flats, all right? From the last high-tech piece of paper I gave you, all right, I told you the A, F-A-C-E, all right, A falls between, it's in the second space, okay? That's the note of A, and I happen to put a stem on it, okay? So, did I do that right? Yeah. Sorry. There's A, okay? And I put a flat symbol next to it. So that means A flat, all right? So that just means I'm going to play my A note, but I'm going to drop it down 1 fret or 1/2 step. All right, here, every good baby does fine. That's my F note right here, and I put a sharp symbol next to it. So that just means I'm going to play F, but I'm going to raise it up higher by 1 fret, 1/2 step, okay? All right, that works that way for any note. I'll get into this later, but some notes can have 2 names, okay? You can have, let's see, G flat, all right? G flat can also be F sharp. You'll see why later, okay? That's kind of how it works. So, you know, there's typical ways that they're expressed, but, you know, C sharp can also be D flat. We don't usually say C sharp. We usually say D flat. But just so you know, they're interchangeable, and I'll show you that on the guitar. Okay, key signatures. Every song is written in a particular key. It could be the key of C. It could be the key of B flat. It could be the key of G. It could be the key of, did I say A flat? It could be in any key at all. Name any note, flat or sharp. So C, D flat, E, E flat, B flat, F sharp, whatever, you know. Key signatures are indicated by using the flat and the sharp signs. All right, so here I'm just going to give you 2 examples. All right, so the key of C major. All right, everybody's favorite when they're beginners, because there are no flats and no sharps in C major. All right, it follows the do re mi pattern. All right, so you won't see any markings. You'll just see your G clef. That means you're in the key of C major. All right, that means you're just going to play the do re mi scale starting with C. All right, this happens to be, there is a sharp sign in the place where F goes. That means that this particular key signature is indicating that I'm playing this in the key of G major. G major happens to have an F sharp in it. You'll find that out if you start on a G and you play the scale using the whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half pattern. You'll find that there's no F, just plain straight F in the G scale. It's F sharp, okay? And so therefore, when you're playing something in the key of G, you are playing because you're following that pattern, an F sharp, not an F. You're raising your F up by 1/2 step. All right, that's a lot, okay? But the basics, know the difference between a sharp and a flat, okay? Understand that this is called a G clef. You might want to remember or just become interested in learning where your basic notes fall, all right? And the symbols for sharp and flat, that's it. So I'm going to put this high-tech equipment, high-tech software aside because, hey, these lessons are free and I want to keep it that way. And I do this for fun. So let me see if I can just show you some examples. So let's just say I am going to play the note of A. I'm on the 3rd string, okay? I'm on the 3rd string, and I'm using my middle finger to play A. So it's G, that's open G. So I know that A is right here. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's the major pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So I know that this is A. Okay, what do I mean by A flat? I'm dropping it down 1/2 step, 1 fret. A. Okay, A flat just means this. That's it. Yeah. Let's see. I know that this is G, low G. If I want to play G flat, okay, so how do I know it's G? So E, F, G. All right. Sorry, E, F, G. So I want to play G flat. Where am I going? So that's how you flat a note, okay? Flat a note. I don't know. This is A. If I want to do A sharp, which we don't typically call it, okay, we will call it, so A sharp, I go up 1 fret. So that's A, that would be A sharp, which is also B flat, because that's B, that's B flat, okay? So they're interchangeable. A sharp, I'm going up, there's my A, I'm going up 1/2 step, all right? If I go to B, A, B flat, I go down 1/2 step, I'm in the same place where I talked about A sharp. So it's A sharp or B flat, interchangeable, all right? Let's see. There's a D, all right? 3rd fret, 2nd string. D flat. Where am I going? I'm going down 1/2 step. If I want to go D sharp, it's not commonly spoken of that way, but we can say it that way. I'm going up a half a step. All right, that also happens to be E flat, because here's E. All right, so D sharp, E flat, same thing, different name, same exact note. What to remember? Sharp means up a half a step, flat means down 1/2 step, okay? So let's just leave it at that for now. All right, just important to know, kind of handy to know. All right, that's it. This was the 3rd. I will go, I actually misnamed the 3rd and I called it the 4th, so I'm sticking this in here as the 3rd. The next one will be the 5th, and I have to remember that. Okay, bye.